we believe in Judaism that everything that happens in the world, Hashem is telling us something. This is the secret to being able to have the proper control of our emotional responses to the things that we go through in life. And that is that there's a certain question that we have to ask in order to master that control. The question that we have to ask in order for us to be able to respond from a spiritual place is, instead of asking the question, why did this happen to me? We have to ask instead, what is God telling me? The Pasuk says in this week's parasha about Sichon and how he captured the city of Heshbon from the people from Moab. And the Pasuk says that this is something that we realized, that Hashem was setting it all up. Sichon hiring Bilam, paying all that money, taxing his people, to be able to capture Heshbon from Moab, all for the sake that the Jews would be able to capture Heshbon. We as Jews would have no rights to capture from Moab. Hashem forbid it from the Jewish people. But only because Sichon first worked everything he had, all of his efforts, it was all there for us as Jewish people to be able to have the ability to take over Heshbon. And here we learn, the Pasuk tells us the concept of the mashal. That even though this is just a geopolitical issue, seemingly has nothing to do with anything that we could take for our lives. But we learn from here that sometimes a person can spend his whole life working so hard and really working for something else, for somebody else. And the beginning of Mesat Hashem discusses this question. The question of what is considered really good. And he says, Va'ani kirvat elukim li tov. David HaMelech says that what's good is not a good steak, a good view, good music, a good massage, a good smell. What's good is what's good for the soul. Those goods that we mentioned before are good for the five senses. But the five senses is not really me. That's my body. The real me is Va'ani kirvat elukim li tov. For the soul, the only thing that's really, really good is the relationship with God. The real you is your soul. And sometimes we could spend our whole lives taking care of our bodies and forgetting about our souls, which we're going to be stuck with as we go up to heaven. This concept of mashal is something that was the power that gives us the opportunity to be moshel. Through the mashal, we could be moshel on our urges. And this concept is also what we're expected to do constantly. There was a story once with a great Rav Yosef ben Hassi, that he was doing a lot of kiruv, and he was stopped by another driver by the red light who was knowing that Rav Pinchasi does kiruv, and he said to Rav Pinchasi, he says, you have till the light turns green to try to make me religious to do tshuva. And Rav Pinchasi looks at him and says, Sa, like they say in Hebrew, just go, move, drive. He says, I can't, there's a red light. He says back to him, so what? What's the problem? He said, I might get a ticket. He said, there's no police around. He said, yeah, but there might be some cameras that I don't see. I don't want to get fined and points and tickets. He said, but maybe there's cameras from above that you don't see that also give you fines and points and tickets. He met this person a little while later with a beard, and he told the rabbi that that red light is what made me religious. You see, that's the power of the mashal, and the ability to look around us and see what can we learn from what's going on around us. Now, I would assume that we could learn from the bill of Trump, the big, beautiful bill of Trump. And people think it's good, people think it's bad. Depends how you look at it. But one thing for sure is that what's God telling us is that sometimes we have to look at where are we spending our time, our money, our efforts, our focus, and what's stealing from us. What are these external things, the five senses that are stealing from us our times? And maybe we're giving too much of that without realizing it and not really taking an inventory and saying, hey, what about me, the real me, the soul?